Everybody, sit down! No, not you, Guido.
Hello and welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I'm the Gareth in the middle, he's the Zog on the left.
Hello.
And he's the Richard on the right.
Hello.
Although those positions do not reflect our political standpoint. I thought I should say that in the build-up to the general election.
Very wise.
I'm not in the centre, Richard's not on the right, Zog, you're not on the left. I like to think of us all as sort of
Confused.
modern-day communists, yeah. Enough twaddle. Hooray! F1 is back! Let there be rejoicing and happiness. And we all got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, did we? Zog, did you?
As you well know, I'm much better at staying up late than I am at getting up early.
Nicely
I
put.
recorded it and watched it during the day when I was able to do so without feeling rotten because I got up at some stupid hour in the morning.
Richard, do we allow him back in the gang then, even if he didn't watch the first race live?
Please.
Yeah, because I missed the first race last year, but on the basis that my son was being born, which I thought was a pretty good excuse. So this year, fast forward 1 year, almost exactly, and I set my alarm for 4:55 because I thought I can do without the build-up. 4:55, alarm goes off, fall out of bed, pull on some clothes, downstairs,
Yep.
watch the start. My baby boy started crying. He sleeps through the night.
Yep.
He never normally wakes up. He woke up at 4:15 and woke us up.
And that's the only time you've been happy that he woke you up.
And so
in the middle of
I
the night.
went and sat with him for a bit, comforted him back to sleep. That happened by 4:45, and I was downstairs,
Perfect.
ready for the race. Now,
Perfect.
I'm not saying that somehow he knew and that F1 is in his blood, but I'm sort of saying that somehow he knew and F1 is in his blood.
Genetic memory.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
That's what it is. And so did we enjoy it, Zog?
Yes, it wasn't the greatest race.
True.
It was a little bit, yeah. But after the long off-season, it's good to get back to some on-track action. And main thing, though, can we please have more Arnie in future races?
Do you know what?
No.
Apart from the fact that it was him talking to Toto Wolff, just sort of voice twins,
Yes.
extraordinary moment of coming together of those two, which sadly you couldn't pick up the audio on it, they were on the grid. But then he did the podium thing. Oh, he was quite good at it.
Yeah, he was. No, he was surprisingly good because, first of all, Lewis was obviously surprised to see him there. I don't think he knew that Arnie was
didn't,
coming out, and seemed genuinely starstruck. And he managed to ask some reasonably intelligent questions. It's certainly not the worst questions we've had asked on podiums.
No.
He'd obviously thought about what he was going to ask them,
Yeah.
and there were things that he knew about, to do with preparation and concentration. I felt slightly sorry for Rosberg, though. So, what does it feel like to come second?
Yeah, really. Not the
feel
best
like-
question.
Yeah.
Well,
Not to win.
that's quite a good
I mean-
bulletin question.
Oh, no, it's a good direct question, but
But-
because nobody likes to be reminded that they've come second.
But Arnie only knew Lewis's name. He didn't know Vettel or Rosberg's name.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know. But he obviously does know his stuff, though, because when he ran into Brundle on the grid, without any prompting, he knew how powerful the engines were, and he knew they were 700-kilo cars. He knew that Vettel had moved to Ferrari.
I have been doing my homework.
Yeah,
I have researchers.
He wasn't just a celeb who rolled up on the grid.
No, not at all.
So, he's obviously interested. He's obviously a fan.
Can I just raise a practical question, though?
Yes.
What was he doing there?
Great question.
Hang on, did you not get that from all?
No, I missed that bit.
He was there for the Arnold Schwarzenegger Iron Man Classic Bodybuilding
No.
Expo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that detail because I was thinking, I thought he was Austrian, and we're now finding out he's Australian.
I know,
was a
he's
typo.
Very confusing.
he even managed to fit in a mention of the Arnold Bodybuilding Classic or whatever during
Come
one
to
of his
my event
questions.
or I will hurt you.
Yes.
Here we are, 5 minutes into the programme. We said F1's back. I asked about the race, and we're still talking about
But
the stuff
on it, yeah.
that goes around the race.
Yeah.
Agreed
The race-
that the race
so, yeah,
wasn't
race
the
itself.
greatest, yeah. But I don't mind that. For me, the worst thing about the Melbourne Grand Prix was the Melbourne Grand Prix. The racing. Everything in the build-up to it was utterly superb. The whole Guido van der Garde Sauber
Yes,
drama
comedy gold.
It was brilliant.
Socially awkward comedy gold.
I love it.
Oh, they went through the rigmarole of doing a seat fitting for him,
Yeah.
knowing full well they were never going to give him a drive.
The whole thing's such a mess. It's beyond me how the most legally qualified team principal
True.
can end up in that position.
Yeah.
Because Manisha Kaltenborn is a qualified lawyer, and I think she used to be in charge of Sauber's legal department. You know, she
Yeah.
knows her stuff.
Well, you know what they always say, that builders' houses are the scruffiest.
Yeah, well,
Plumbers' plumbing is always the leakiest.
and-
Lawyers' legal stuff is
All over the
completely
place.
shaky.
In
And that
litigation.
you end up with your engineers going through a very angry seat fitting with a man they don't want to be there.
if you were Guido van der Garde, why would you take legal action to enforce your right to race in a car that nobody on the team is going to want you in? You know, what's his best outcome? He wins the case.
Well, I think he wants his $8 million back, doesn't
Well,
he?
yeah, and on that, if you've given them that much money, of course you're going to want it back.
I
if you're not
suppose
getting
you want a
race.
seat fitting. Damn right I want a seat fitting. I've paid you $8 million.
Oh, Sauber obviously
Seat fitting made of gold.
They obviously mishandled it.
The,
Colossally.
the upshot
They screwed
is
it big time.
that an agreement was found just in time not to put Guido in the car. And they've settled, I believe, for 13 or 16 million euros. Sauber will pay Van der Garde, I've heard.
Is that actually a final deal? Because the last I heard, Guido had sort of put his claim on hold.
This has happened
while-
since then.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, someone observed on social media today that with that 13 or 16 million euros, he could probably get a drive with Sauber next year.
Well, apart from the fact that Sauber already have 3 drivers, is that right?
Anything up to 12 drivers.
Who
Does-
knows who
doesn't
they've
Southall
promised
still
stuff
have it?
to
They
now.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They're just suddenly they're just
I'm
there.
driving the next race,
Yeah.
I think. Well, I got a
Well,
letter that says I am. It's signed, Benicia.
Those engineers coming down to the pit in the morning and they're just saying, oh my God, what's Gerhard Berger doing here? I have no idea what's happening to them.
Why has
Arnie.
he brought his helmet with him?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Is he
why
looking
Arnie was there.
excited?
Actually, not such a crazy idea.
I can drive your car. I sound enough like Nicky Lauda and Toto Wolff. Same voice, isn't it?
Terrific that having got over that minor legal hump, they actually had such a good race. And actually,
Yeah. Not liking the colour scheme though. Still think it looks like a minor league GP2 car or
does
something.
look like
It does look a bit
GP2.
cheap. I agree.
Really,
It does look-
really
there's something-
poor Indy car from a few years ago. I don't know. It's a backmarker's colour scheme if ever I saw it.
But you do recognise it. I mean, it does stand out.
That's true.
You know, it's not another sort of bit red, bit grey, bit white.
Yeah,
you
no,
notice
I
how
know
that's
you
good
do
colour.
notice how, which is helpful, but I think it just looks a bit tacky. So. Anyway, but that's
They've
by the
got,
by.
they've got a decent engine, Sauber. That much is clear, 'cause it's the only way that car will go quick. Any car will go quick in Formula 1 if it's got a decent engine. So the fact that Sauber are running with 2015 Ferrari blocks has given them the oof that they need. Admittedly, they're going to put together a car that will support that sort of performance, but they've done that. Poor old any team running a Renault engine at the moment. Maybe Caterham are better off out of this sport at the moment. They were running a Renault. Imagine how difficult it would have been for them. Also, Richard, I have to shake your hand.
Yes.
Your comedy gold on Sniff Petrol, that rumours were that McLaren had actually paid for Manor to turn up at the race so that McLaren didn't finish at the back of the grid.
Oh,
Reported to be
yes.
completely true.
Yeah. I wrote my 2015 F1 guide, which was retweeted today by David Coulthard.
Hey!
Hey,
Which is rather good.
Well done.
For
Well
me.
done.
absolutely.
Not for anyone else.
Yeah,
but-
and if only Manor had actually managed to even get on the grid, then the plan might have worked.
Yes, so that's all
Complicated.
a bit ugly. They went all the way out there, and then I just read that Bernie's said they had no intention of racing, even if you held a machine gun to their heads. So I'm charging them for transporting all their stuff there and back.
Yeah,
He's
and
a
I mean,
generous man, isn't he?
He's such a warm-hearted soul.
I mean, you've got to feel for Manor. They did tremendously well to actually get it together to be able to sort of start this season. And, you know, maybe they should have just stayed home and got a dispensation to not turn up for the first 3 races. Is it 3 races you're allowed to miss?
Yes, it is. Yes.
And sort of qualify.
Without getting massive
too many
fines.
penalties. Yeah. So maybe they should have just sat the first 3 races out while they actually made sure the cars were really ready to go. Or maybe they were genuinely optimistic that they could do it. Maybe they thought they really were going to be able to sort those last
I
few
asked
things out.
questions about the whole software thing. We haven't got the software to run this engine. We've got to write it. We haven't got it with us. Hang on, the software
Can't
is
they get it
something-
off BitTorrent or something these
Yeah,
days?
it must be available as a BitTorrent. Dropbox.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
probably got it in my Dropbox. Have you probably got the software for
I don't know. Go
Actually,
and get
thank
the
you.
ECU from a Holden Commodore in a scrapyard down the road and see if that'll work. I don't understand that. Unless it was they couldn't get the immobiliser to disengage or something. It's a common problem when you switch an ECU in a car. It's just, I haven't got that. I haven't got one of those keys with the chip in it. And maybe that was it. But yes, it all seemed a bit weak. But why go out there? Why bother?
Well, because I think they thought they would be filling the requirement of participating by
Turning
making
up.
it appear as if, by turning up.
But that's so depressing.
But I think you've actually got to turn a wheel in anger, haven't you? Certainly to qualify in Bernie's eyes for your travel money.
I'm going to be generous and say they genuinely thought they were going to be able to turn wheels and get out there on track, and they just weren't able, in the time they had available and with the resources, they just couldn't fix the things they needed to fix and cobble together the things they needed to cobble together.
Depending on how quickly Guido van der Gaard gets his millions from Sauber, I reckon Guido could be in the manor in the next race.
So it was a great race. All you guys did great. And that's it. That is the Australian Grand Prix over. Oh, bugger.
Step petrol with Gareth Jones on speed!
It almost went unnoticed in all the hullabaloo of the Formula One backstory that Mercedes won yet again, and Lewis yet again. How could it be yet again on the first race of the season? But it seems like Mercedes has been winning forever
Well,
now.
it's continuing the domination of last year, and I don't know about you, but I can't see anything else happening this year other than Lewis romping home.
You think he's going to walk all over Nico this
I
year?
do think he's going to walk all over Nico. Yeah.
Why?
Because I think he's got a confidence boost having won last year. So I think he's going to have a psychological edge over Nico.
He hasn't got a distracting girlfriend anymore.
Well, he has been distracted in the past by his personal life. You know, there have been those moments when there's been stuff going on off the track that's distracted him and obviously brought him down, messed with his head a bit. This time, whatever the reasons for the breakup, it doesn't seem like it's put him in a bad place. He's got his head screwed on properly, he's focused on the job, he's confident, he's got an amazing machine under him. And yeah, I just can't see Nico being able to really challenge. They're going to be first and second at most of the races, and Rosberg will beat him sometimes. But I think Lewis is going to romp home.
I don't see how Lewis can be so darn quick in that car with such a heavy gold chain round his neck. Have you noticed he wears this rapper's gold chain? It looks really 80s to me. How can he be so quick, weighed down by such... I'm assuming he's wearing it in the car during the
talent,
race.
man. It's just
That's what it
awesome
is.
talent. He's the man.
Are you hating or loving Lewis this week? It swings. I love him and I hate him.
Well, he did well in that race. Barely saw him, really,
Yeah, I think-
on
Yeah,
telly.
true, yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
not worth watching a car just driving around effortlessly, isn't it? Which is what it appears to do. Just pop back to see him take the checkered flag with Rosberg tailing along. I agree with you, Zog. I think that Hamilton seems to be quite sort of psychologically in a good place, and he's just got to keep it all together, because we know that sometimes he doesn't. And they've got to avoid any shenanigans, no Spa-style clattering into each other. Keep it all tight, and it's theirs for the taking, isn't it? And it just means everyone else is there to pick up the scraps. They will be hoping they'll come together, they'll do something stupid, and then who will go
pick
along
up pieces? Will it be Ferrari, Williams? Well, that's it.
I don't know. I mean, did you see that? You sort of saw the flashes of excellence from the Sauber. Toro Rosso was looking all right. It's not sort of...
Toro Rosso, you're right. No, they were looking pretty good, and they've got two good drivers there. Credit to their new lineup. Yeah,
Verstappen. People say Verstappen. It's not. It's Verstappen. It's not German. Verstappen, if you're Dutch, apparently. Verstappen.
Okay.
But yeah, Verstappen.
It's the word for using a lavatory brush to remove cobwebs.
I'm just Verstappen.
Yeah, from above a window.
Are you Verstappen? No, I'm leaving in about 5 minutes. Yeah. And Sainz, don't call him Junior, apparently. We've been told that. I'm not allowed to call him Junior. But the interesting thing going on at Toro Rosso at the moment is that they might well be bought out by Renault. Now, this is really, really confusing, because Renault used to be a French team, then they owned Benetton and they were a British team, and now they're going to allegedly buy Toro Rosso and become an Italian team.
Yeah,
And yet
To
it's
what
still
end?
Renault.
Don't they need to concentrate on getting that engine to work properly?
You'd hope
Well, yeah, I was
so.
going to say, on which note, are Red Bull being a load of whiny babies or not?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well,
Okay,
Christian
so-
Horner specifically is being a complete whiny baby, because I didn't hear a peep out of him when they were doing well, and then suddenly, because Mercedes have done a better job than anyone else at making an engine that is powerful and works properly. Wow, we can't keep up, and the sport must intervene to level the playing field. That's not how it works. If you're the manager of Manchester City and you're playing Arsenal and they're beating you, don't go, well, it's not fair because they've got some better players than us. So what you should do is tell their goalkeeper to go away for a bit so we can score. It doesn't work like that. It's sport. Man up.
Particularly after you've won 4 championships on the trot.
Exactly.
You know, and
not a peep, not a complaint.
You have a couple of years when you don't do quite so well.
Hi guys, just wondering, we seem to be winning a bit too much, so could you level the playing field? Because, we feel really bad, it doesn't work like
no
that.
sympathy at all. I mean,
No,
it's
I know.
really-
I think
I have an
regret.
you take the rough with the
saying
smooth, and sorry, they've just got to do a better job.
I have
Well,
an
already,
explanation.
Toto Wolff has already told them to stop moaning in an interview.
He did say that.
Yeah, and he swore as well. Which
He
is
did.
superb.
Very Saxon word. I have an explanation for it. I think, and you identified it beautifully there, Richard. Oh, we didn't hear anything while they were winning. They're just not used to losing. It's a shock to them. How can we lose? And to be fair, you dealt your cards and you play them as you will. And everyone has been dealt a certain amount of development for their engines and a certain amount of tokens that they can use. Mercedes did a better job last year and have improved on it this year. It's up to Renault to sort it out, and the answer there has come from them employing Mario Ilian, I believe. Mario Ilian, who
Formerly of Ilmor Engines with... what's his name,
Oh, I
Morgan,
misread
who
that. I thought they were
developed
employing Marillion.
No,
Slightly pompous rock band.
they're employing Marillion as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, they do Kaylee.
But who's the
I
lead
quite
singer
like
now?
that one.
Because,
I like Kaylee
because,
too.
Yeah.
Fish was...
Big lovely Fish.
Fish gave up, and then
Derek
they got
Dick.
some other guy to...
Derek
Yeah.
Dick. That was
They
his
did
real
get
name.
some other guy, didn't they? When I was at university, I used to know an intensely Welsh man called Marion. Who really liked Marillion, and we could never work out is whether he liked them because their names were quite similar, or if this was a coincidence.
What do you reckon? Are they going to do any repair work this year? They've got tokens they can use in their engine.
Yeah, Renault have got more tokens than anyone else, haven't they?
that
They've
right?
got 12.
They've got
yeah.
12.
They've been saving them from...
I'm always curious about these tokens. I imagine in my head they look like those ones you sometimes get from petrol stations that enable
Yeah.
you to use the airline thing.
Yeah, they
to
look
pump up your
exactly
tyres.
like that,
You know,
yeah.
they've got a groove on either side.
Yeah.
and you go to a
and
machine in the corner of the pit, you put
Yeah.
it in, and then
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
comes a new engine.
A better
bit. And
engine.
It's like a lucky dip,
Yeah.
Hopefully you get a better turbo.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe you get some slightly lighter cylinders. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's exactly
Yeah,
how it works.
it is.
They keep it quiet, but we've found them out.
We know.
how that's worked.
You have 32 tokens which you can use on developing different bits of the engine, and depending on which bit of the engine you're applying tokens to, it uses up more or fewer tokens. So
Yeah.
I guess that basically the more fundamental a bit of the engine it is, the more tokens it takes to update it. I think that's
like a
that's
board
my
game,
understanding.
isn't it?
Yeah, but it sounds like, particularly from
yeah,
what
right.
whiny Christian Horner is saying, that they don't quite know what is wrong with the Renault engine, and the bit they need to develop is the
whole
engine.
thing.
So, that I don't know whether that's a bigger token, like it's sort of the size of a dinner plate, to enable you just to you put that into a different machine and a whole new engine comes out. But yeah, I was staggered by that Christian Horner thing. I read it a couple of places to see if it was being misquoted, but he was having a proper whine about stuff, and he said that Renault are a bit of a mess. And now Red Bull have booked a dyno in Austria, where presumably the dynos are
dinosaur.
more accurate.
Oh,
yes,
sorry,
yes. Marillion is going to take the engine
they've
to
got a rock dinosaur
Austria/Australia,
in Austria.
wherever Arnold Schwarzenegger's from, we don't know.
Deliberately.
And then a dinosaur is going to have a look at the engine because, let's
Yeah.
be honest, it can't be any more confused about what's going on than the Renault engine is.
We have a very full understanding of what's going
Absolutely,
on.
and I don't. Our old friend and ultra listener Dave Stebbings may want to do a drawing of this happening in some way, as he sometimes does, because I, for one, can't wait to see that.
Mr. Alonso, I've looked at your latest test results, and as your doctor, I'm very satisfied with your recovery. Your temporary memory loss is almost gone, and I can sign you off for the next Grand Prix.
So you're saying I'm okay to race?
Yes!
I'm going to Malaysia?
Yes!
And the car is great?
Sure.
Nurse, get more of the amnesia pills now.
Gareth Jones on speed.
I think the Melbourne Grand Prix had the smallest grid since Aurora AFX Racing, which I believe were what scale? Do you remember? Scalemetric is about 1/32.
I think it's 1/24th or 1/32.
So Aurora is something like 1/48 scale. So that's a much smaller grid. You see what I'm getting at here? Yeah. How many cars started in the end? 15?
15.
Now, somebody said, oh no, there was a smaller grid at that infamous US Grand Prix where...
Jordan, Minardi and Ferrari ran.
But that's not true, is it? Because
Well, no, because technically they all started and then they all just peeled off.
Yeah, all but 6. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
This is the smallest grid for a long time, was.
I don't think 15 cars is disastrous. Obviously, you want more than that, but as long as you're going to get some good racing with 15 cars, that's fine.
Well,
but we didn't really have enough racing action there to make up for that.
As we said earlier on, the race was rather dull, but everything going on around the race was quite interesting. And the reasons why those cars weren't on the grid were sort of interesting for a number of reasons. Bottas going off and then... as it turns out, if you've already qualified,
What it was, he had the issue with his back. They couldn't replace him because they didn't have a replacement driver who'd taken part in the qualifying session. And if you haven't taken part in the qualifying session, you can't make the race.
But then, who was it said? What's his name? Pat
Simmons?
Pat Simmons.
Very good impression. Thank you.
When asked about what would happen
if he's not back for the next
Bottas
race.
wasn't ready, would Susie Wolff as your reserve driver take? And he went, we haven't got a reserve driver.
No, he didn't. He said, we don't have a reserve driver.
Waka waka waka.
Fuzzy bear. He said that Susie was the test driver.
I can't remember exactly what he said. They couldn't tell whether he was just being sort of pedantic about putting the facts straight or whether he was sort of waving off the suggestion, but he just seemed to be sort of making the point to quite firmly that they weren't committed to putting her in the car to replace Bottas if he's not there for the next race.
Well, he's got 2 weeks to get well. It sounds like he's not in a terrible way, it's just that he can't do that getting out of the car within the prescribed time, isn't
Soft
it?
tissue damage is what
Okay.
they've said, so it's no bones or nerves. So in 2 weeks, hopefully that will recover and Bottas will be in the car, because we missed him from the race. I do like Bottas.
Although, I'm with you there, but if it's a disc sort of rather than a muscle thing, that could take longer to put right, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Unlimited knowledge of
It's
these
that
things.
soft tissue. A disc, I suppose it is.
It is. Well, yeah, disc is soft tissue. It's kind of cartilage, isn't it? But what did strike me was that he really seemed to be walking quite gingerly away from the circuit.
I think that's because he cheated himself, though.
In a race suit. Carrying
it's
extra
unseemly
baggage.
because you've got the elastic around the ankle, so it's just a car crash when you finally take it off. I'm not speaking from experience there, I'm just projecting what might happen.
I'm reminded of the tale of the man whose name escapes me now, who raced in the Le Mans 24 Hours, and he attempted to do the whole 24 hours single-handed.
This was 1954, I
Good
think,
lad.
because it was the French driver who was involved in that horrible accident in 55.
Yeah.
But the year before, he'd been leading the race.
In a Bugatti, was it?
No, I
Mercedes?
can't remember what he was driving, but he was leading the race, having driven 23 hours single-handed, because they didn't have rules about you have to have another driver.
Yeah.
And in his presumably, hallucinogenic state at that point, he fluffed a gear change, blew the engine up, and that was it.
Would have won.
Yeah.
But when asked about his toilet arrangements during the race, his reply was green overalls.
I thought everything was made of tweed back then. But
Yes.
Not if you're French. No, British drivers tweed.
Yeah.
French, I don't know.
A flannelette of some description.
Bottas,
Lace or tulle
denim,
or something.
racing
maybe.
nappy.
Denim, yeah, denim.
Denim.
Denim, quite right.
Bottas does look like a big baby. If he was wearing a nappy, in the way that Rubens Barrichello also looked like a full-grown baby, an adult
Yes.
baby, so does Bottas. You could have done with a nappy. I would have shit myself after the bump that he had in that car if it's hurt his back. Ooh, poor lad.
I mean, I'd like to see him back for the next race, but if he can't make it, I'd like to see Susie Wolff get a shot.
She gets a lot of flack. Oh, she's only in it because her husband is a shareholder of the team, whatever, and she's a girl. And it would be nice if she got a go.
Yeah.
And we'll find out
Let's see if she can do
how
it.
good she is in a race.
Absolutely.
In what we know to be seemingly quite a good car, because
Very good car.
Felipe Massa was doing good things with it on Sunday and
on Saturday.
You can only imagine what Bottas would have been up to if he'd have not been dry cleaning his overalls during the race. And so, if she does get the chance to race, then we'll see how competitive she is or not, and then at least we can make a bit more of a decision.
Other options for Williams include, of course, Nigel Mansell, who they always pull in if they're short of a driver at the last minute.
I think in that case, if I was Claire Williams, I'd probably just claim the car didn't work and just run one again.
Sorry, Nigel, we can't find the keys.
Yeah, it's
no.
that
I've
immobiliser
still
problem
got
that
it.
Manor had. Yeah,
I've still got it. I can
Keeps
do it. Let
going
me
up.
in the car. I can still do it. Can you hear him? Oh, that
But
would be
speaking of
terrible.
competitive or not competitive, McLaren Honda.
Oh,
What a shame.
Oof. The bitter irony of Jenson Button coming home in 11th and being the only driver in the whole race not to get any points.
Yeah, really.
It's just horrible.
And in a sense, even more tragically, they actually won't have been that unhappy with that result. They actually managed to get to
No,
the end
I
of the
bet they were
race.
delighted they finished the
you know,
race.
I don't suppose they'd have put money on finishing the race.
They said they got lots of data back from that, which is all they're going to get. They're not
Yeah, but
gonna get
McLaren
points.
say that about everything, don't they?
They
It's
do.
Just put the dishwasher on in the factory and we've got a lot of data out of it.
But did you see when Kevin Magnussen's Honda engine went pop? Did you see? I haven't
Yeah.
seen this. Bits, like valves, like great plates of steel were ejected.
bits,
I haven't
yeah.
seen
It was
that.
properly good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Pow!
Yeah.
Bits.
bits of metal came off.
Oh,
It reminded me like a scene out of
But-
Memphis Belle when one of those stricken planes is coming back and its engines are belching smoke
Spewing,
and things are
yeah.
flying off it.
If I was Ron Dennis right now, I would get Mugen on the phone and say, look, you sorted out the Honda engine last time. You took a reasonably good engine and made it really very good enough for Jordan to win races. Can you do the same for the mothership Honda this time? Because Honda, you know, you've got to be ready. I think I said this in the last show, you know, if any team can weather the storm of development, have got the financial deep pockets to get them through the how many races it's going to take? 12 races to get this engine good? 10 races? 5 races? Other teams would go under, wouldn't they?
Well,
McLaren might just be able to make
I was
it.
thinking about this the other day, though. The thing is, I don't know why we're surprised, because I feel like we sort of are surprised that the engine is so terrible.
Yeah, I thought they would have done
But-
better at this.
Well, I
race,
think
that's for
because
sure.
we look back as long-time F1 fans to Honda when they were partnered with McLaren in the
Yeah.
80s, the heady days, the Marlboro sponsorship, Prost, Senna, all that stuff, and we think they were giant killers. They dominated for a period. But actually, the last time Honda were in F1, they were absolutely rubbish.
Yes,
and that's
consistently.
It's not guaranteed that Honda are these people who know how
Who
to do
always
F1.
get it right. Yeah, but the last time they were in F1, they were trying to do it all. They weren't
Yes.
just trying to do the engine. And part of their mistake was trying to do it all. And I think they obviously haven't done as good a job as we would have wanted them to do or thought they were going to do. But yeah, they're going to be putting a lot of money and a lot of resources into fixing the problems, both at Honda and a McLaren, and let's see where they're at the end of the year, because I've always had more faith in kind of McLaren's in-year development ability than almost any other team. They're so good at that.
They used to be able to be
they're
good
gonna
at
do
that
this
when
year.
Adrian Newey was on board. They could practically pull out a B-Series car halfway through the season some 10 years ago. We haven't
What,
really...
like a car with a B-Series engine in it? Like
Yeah,
an
the
MGB?
Mercedes. No, Mercedes B Series. It would be better than the Honda. They would do stuff like halfway. By the time they got to the European season, they would have a Mark II car, longer wheelbase, different mounting positions for all sorts of things. That doesn't happen so much anymore. They tend to evolve what's there. You're right. If any team can develop in season, it's McLaren. But I don't know if that's going to be good enough. It's going to eat into their credibility for next season and the season beyond. It adds to the big picture.
Well,
Oh,
and
hey.
it is tricky for them because this is something that isn't entirely in their hands. It's a Honda engine. It's not a McLaren thing. And so Honda have to fix the problem. You know,
McLaren have been making bits for the Honda engine now. Have you heard about this? They've been providing bits because Honda can't.
They have, yeah. Although,
In testing.
isn't it, as I understand, it's been pretty minor bits, you know, that it's been a seal, things like that, you know, rather than...
Rather than what, a sea elephant or a manatee.
Yeah, no, none of those,
Sea lion.
no other
sea
major
lion.
groups of aquatic mammals are involved here.
Otters. They've got that big lake out the front of the McLaren factory. They could have all sorts
Where are
of
you
stuff
gonna-
in
where are you
there.
gonna fit it
How
off
deep
with,
is
I
it?
think?
We just don't
Violet
know.
whales.
No, we don't know.
There could be a narwhal down there. We don't even know about.
A Honda-branded narwhal.
Something that just occurred to me when you mentioned Adrian Newey, I forgot to say earlier on that, did you see Martin Whitmarsh, the friendly skeleton, has fetched up after slinking away from Woking, no longer being involved with the
Where's
McLaren
he
team.
ended up?
He is going to run Sir Ben Ainsley's yacht.
He's gone
Club
the direction
thing. Oh,
of
interesting. The Adrian
Mike
Newey-
Gascoigne. Mike Gascoigne loves
Well,
a bit of sailing.
Here's
Because
the
there's
connection.
a lot of sort of F1 sailing
So
stuff
Adrian
going on.
Newey is
Adrian
involved in
Newey,
designing
yeah.
that boat. Red Bull said, you're a bit restless. Hey, you can go and do this little side project and work with Sven Ainsley. And now Martin Whitmarsh has gone on, I was going to say on board, that would sound like an idiotic pun. But, Martin Whitmarsh has got involved and he's going to be the CEO of the company, the team, essentially. But he said, on declaring the news that he was joining them, that if he was Christian Horner, with the problems that Red Bull are having, he wouldn't let Adrian Newey do anything but concentrate 100% on the team, which I thought was a little bit disingenuous of him.
Well, do you know what? I think this is Whitmarsh reacting to what we said on the programme, that he's too nice a guy.
Yeah.
He is such a wonderfully nice and reasonable man. That's why McLaren weren't excelling anymore. And he's trying to be bad Martin Whitmarsh.
I don't know. He probably gets incredibly seasick, and he's just too polite to say he couldn't turn down the job. He's going to have a wretched time on that yacht.
Yeah, no, you do get knocked about on racing yachts.
Mind you, he's so skeletal. He's quite light, and that's good.
Machines, you know.
One final thought on McLaren's problems. You know why McLaren are doing so rubbish this year, don't you?
Because they've got a terrible Honda engine.
No, because they had Sam Michael for the last however many 4 years.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear.
Those poor people.
So they've got some residual Sam Michaelness clogging up the factory.
It's an engineering problem. You've been listening to Zog.
Goodbye.
Richard.
Goodbye.
Me, Gareth. And that was Gareth Jones on Speed, but you probably knew that.
F1's back, or so it seems, though we might be missing a couple of teams. Caterham's vanished off the scanner, Russia now known as Yorkshire's manor. Nasser and Ericsson's internecine rival Guido was claiming that he was both drivers. He's good at maths, so Manisha should know. 3 into 2 in F1 doesn't go. Bottas went off, and at first glance Richard thought he'd gone and shat his pants. Lewis got his first win, and there'll be more, I'm sure. Just as I'm sure he's glad that he's not driving for McLaren anymore.
To send us an email, see pictures, get song lyrics, join our Facebook fan site, follow us on Twitter, or to find out about sponsorship opportunities, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whizbang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!